runs in my blood. I've been lucky enough to travel the world and see nature in its extreme. I'm fascinated with how violent our planet can be, so I'm heading to a high-altitude front line to investigate the power of winter.
The slope shatters like a pane of glass. It's like thunder. The whole mountain just rumbles.
I'm going into the wilds of the Rockies to test the technology that battles mountains of snow and meet people who've survived the brutal roller coaster ride.
Snow was going over top of me and I couldn't see anything.
I'll discover how hard it is to rescue someone from an avalanche.
Think I got him, guys?
We need to get him out fast.
And experience what it's like to be buried alive.
His heart rate's going up, it's 93.
By the time I take a deep breath, I can feel the snow impacting on my lungs.
Winter in the Rocky Mountains of Utah, USA. Massive dumps of snow are nothing unusual here. Snow like this, though, can cause chaos. Recently, it seems like our winters are getting more intense. We've all seen how cities and airports around Europe and the US have been brought to a standstill from only a few hours of snow. Cities like New York, London and Chicago have been experiencing savage snowstorms over the last couple of years. On February the 1st, 2011, Chicago received an amazing 20 inches of snow in less than 24 hours. And on that same day, more than 50% of the landmass of the United States was blanketed white. Thousands of flights were cancelled, hundreds of schools closed, and countless cars abandoned. Now, just imagine if we had to deal with snow like this every winter. Heavy snow tests our ability to adapt. Our modern world often struggles to pass this freezing examination. What ingenuity, what technology do we have to meet this challenge? If we are in for a spell of extreme winters, how are we going to cope? How are we going to keep our world moving? London Heathrow, December the 18th, 2010. Just an hour of snow crippled one of the world's busiest airports for 4 days. But airports next to high mountain ranges have to handle heavy snowfall all the time. I've just landed at Salt Lake City International in Utah. Here, they get 6 to 7 feet of snow each winter. Salt Lake City gets all this snow because it's 4,300 feet above sea level and slap bang next to some huge mountains, the Wasatch Range of the Rockies. When it starts to snow at the airport, powerful plane de-icing machines spring into action. Then they unleash their big guns. These 60-foot-long machines are the latest in snow technology. Each plow with its broom and blower can clear 500 tons of snow per hour. $24 million of specialized equipment to battle the elements. I've joined lead snowplow driver Harvey Murphy. Is there a lot of pressure on you guys to make sure the runways are clear?
You know, absolutely, that's our job, that's what we're here for, that's what we're getting paid for.
When planes are stacking up in the sky waiting for a runway to be cleared of snow, all eyes are on these plow drivers.
It's a big responsibility in trying to get it open. You know, they're up there, they want to get down. A lot of them only have so much fuel, they don't want to divert. When you have a heavy snow, it's like everything hits you at once.
It's a constant battle, really, isn't it?
It is constantly. And it's never really the same battle. Every storm is different. You know, all the conditions vary from storm to storm, so you have to be able to adapt and change and be able to move with the storm.
Runway 16 is clear of snow now, thanks to these snowplow teams. It was amazing being in Salt Lake City Airport and seeing the operation they've got going there. It's just unbelievable the amount of manpower and machine power they've got going and the organisation that's gone into keeping that airport open during snowy weather. Heavy snowfall at an airport can ground planes, but when it's dumped on top of a mountain, it takes on a whole new terrifying dynamic. Add gravity in a steep slope, and you have all the ingredients for a killer, the avalanche. Thousands of tons of snow crashing down a mountainside at speeds of more than 100 miles per hour. Every year, avalanches kill and injure hundreds of people around the world, and the numbers are rising. Near Chamonix in the French Alps, 12 people were killed in 1999 when a massive slide smashed through these buildings. In February 2010, 166 people were killed by a devastating avalanche that struck the Salang Pass of Afghanistan. And in the United States, avalanches now kill 5 times as many people as they did 40 years ago. How does man contend with this lethal form of snow? I want to learn more and ultimately test myself against this deadly force of nature. So I'm leaving Utah, making for the San Juan Mountains of southern Colorado. It's an 8-hour drive. Early next morning, I've arrived. It's an intimidating landscape. On my left-hand side, there's dramatically steep mountains. It's quite hard to see in this visibility. And to my right, there's stomach-churningly steep drops, and it sort of brings home to you how dangerous this road actually is. It's said to be the most dangerous road for avalanches in the whole of North America. This is the fearsome Highway 550 in Colorado. It goes right through Silverton, one of the highest towns in the United States. Here, they know all about the dangers of snow. Silverton's residents live at an altitude of 9,300 feet. Threatening avalanche chutes loom above the rooftops. I'm going to see how they keep this road open through some of the toughest winters the Rockies can create. Nature claims a high price for living and working in these mountains. Here's 3 plough drivers who lost their lives working here, and next to them a family of 3 who got swept off the road on Red Mountain Pass. This is Red Mountain Pass, the most frightening stretch of all on Highway 550. It's where I'm headed next. Silverton, southern outpost of the Colorado Department of Transport. Snowplows and snowblowers are starting another demanding shift. You need some big machines to deal with the elements here. I'm joining experienced plow driver Paul Wilson. We're heading up towards Red Mountain Pass on Highway 550, a road rife with avalanches. Nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
Thanks for taking me out today.
Ain't not a problem.
This should be fun.
Oh yeah.
As we gain altitude, the snow starts to pick up. Wow, it's getting heavy.
Intensifying a little bit up here.
Paul's taking me to a section of road where you pass an avalanche chute every 10 seconds. Not sure that getting out here is the wisest move.
If you look down in this area down here, it's what we call the Brooklyn avalanche area, and there are 13 Brooklyn slides, and then we have the ditch, the double ditch, and the SOB here. And then up here.
In fact, there are more than 20 places an avalanche can hit you in this 1-mile stretch. But just as dangerous are the blizzards, which once almost cost Paul his life.
Snowflakes are huge, and you couldn't see it all. And I was feeling my way up with the wing on the ridge, and all of a sudden the ridge was gone.
Wow.
When the ridge went, my front wheel went over, and I knew I was going over at that point.
So how far did you get down?
I rolled down about 600 feet.
600 feet?
Yeah. So I crawled out of the truck and started climbing back up the bank to the road. I had a severe cut on my arm here, and so that made it even harder to try to climb up the bank
Wow.
and hold this artery at the same time.
I love how relaxed you are about it all. Men like Paul are often modest about their bravery. I've got to ask this, how big are your balls?
They're huge.
Yeah. While Paul seems not to worry about the dangers he faces each day, other plough drivers are not quite so laid back. Dak Klein has been working here for 7 years.
I've got a lot of respect for this mountain now. Every inch of this road seems to have something dangerous that can come up and get you.
And it's the avalanches that are the greatest threat, as Dak has experienced firsthand. As you can see the avalanche coming, you're trying to gun it and you're hitting the side of the truck.
It was really scary. I mean, it was. I mean, thousands and thousands of pounds of snow barreling down at you at speeds of over 100 miles an hour. You don't hear much of anything.
There's something really eerie about that.
That night really did scare me. I didn't know what was going to happen. And didn't know if it was going to take my truck off the road, if it was going to bury me completely. And it wasn't something I want to go through again, ever.
Dak knows he was lucky that night.
I've got a wife and 3 kids at home, and just knowing that, I mean, something could happen where I could leave them and not be able to make it home is my biggest fear.
I'm beginning to realize just how lethal avalanches can be. Let loose, this force of nature just can't be stopped. But can we somehow try to control it? 1,000 miles northwest of Colorado lie the Cascades, a mountain range right on the border of Canada. In the high alpine forests is a place called Stevens Pass. A typical winter here can produce more than 500 inches of snow. On a brutal day of freezing sleet, I've come to see how Washington State's Department of Transport do battle in some very challenging avalanche terrain. Mike Stanford is the guy in charge of avalanche control. So Mike, what's so special about Stevens Pass?
It's one of the major highways through the Cascades from Seattle to the east side, and so it's important to keep open during the winter.
This is the highway, hundreds of feet above where we're standing.
It's avalanche prone because it gets a lot of weather. It's Mother Nature. I mean, you know, we're just playing the game. She writes the rules.
But he has an ace up his sleeve.
That's the Mac Daddy. Look at that.
Yes, this is real. It's a tank.
Well, Mike, this is a big-ass tank.
Yeah.
What sort of tank is this?
This is an M60 A3.
These guys use it to shoot at the mountainside. It's got a range of 7 miles. Positioned at the base of Stevens Pass, the tank blasts avalanche zones above, ensuring they don't threaten vehicles on the highway.
So you fire at a specific spot where you're trying to release the tension, and the shell goes in. What actually happens to the round and the snow around it?
It pretty much gets blown to hell.
So just up here?
Yep, just climb up on her.
First time on a tank.
You don't really think about how big these things are until you see them in the flesh.
Right. Just pull that hatch all the way back.
Hold on.
Yep, go way back, all the way.
God, it doesn't look very friendly in there. It's an incredibly tight squeeze. Oh, God.
Okay, you go ahead and pull back, just roll your wrist back, and we'll pull the barrel up out of the travel lock.
Yeah.
And that was the travel lock falling down, so we'll just come up a little more.
Yeah.
And you turn the wheel to the right, and we'll rotate to the right. That right, yep. Now you know the turret's turning around. Whoa. And that pump will always go, it'll always rotate. Yeah, you can just rotate around till you're locked onto a target on the mountain.
Oh yeah, okay, I got something I want to hit.
I'm itching to shoot. Unfortunately, Mike won't let me. But the tank is not the